I mean, in a sense, the unconditional love is an attitude of heart, which says, I hold nothing against anyone. I'm going to choose to want the best for them unconditionally. But you've got to take into account everyone's best interest. So you've got to safeguard against children and other things happening. And you have to do that carefully, with consideration and with wisdom. You see, you can forgive someone, but doesn't mean you're going to let them do the same thing to you again. Wisdom would say, yeah, I've forgiven you for what you're doing, but you're not going to do it again. You know, which is not unforgiveness. It's just wisdom. It's like, I forgive you for what you've done. I'm not holding it against you, but I am now wise to the situation, and I'm not opening myself up to the same situation again. There's nothing wrong in wisdom and applying wisdom into situations which need wisdom to be applied. And certainly when it comes to safeguarding issues and child safety issues, you've got to put the child first, because they cannot safeguard themselves. You know, the key is you are responsible as parents. We are to safeguard our children and to care for them. Therefore, if there is possibility that they might suffer harm, we've got to protect them from that harm, because they can't do it themselves. So when there's a situation, if there's someone has not shown a sense of remorse, a willingness to change, then although you might love them unconditionally from the point of view, and God does, you know, well, whatever they've done, because Jesus has already died to forgive them for whatever they've already done, that doesn't mean that you just allow them carry on doing those things again and again and again. Because in the one sense, there has to be a sense of a change of their lives to align with God's desire for them. And God doesn't want them to do anything harmful to others. But where I know the boundaries, okay, you've forgiven this person, but this person hasn't changed. Well, are you going to allow someone who hasn't changed the opportunity to do what they've done before again? No, you're not. If that person really wants to have contact with children, grandchildren, whatever it might be, in whatever situations these happen in life, then they need to have shown some sense of, I'm not going to do this again. And if they don't, then that's their choice not to be able to have access, because they are unwilling to own or admit or actually go through whatever they need to change. And therefore there may be that, you know, it's like if you're in court and you come before the judge and the judge sentences you because if you've done something, he may sentence you to anger management, to manage your anger so you won't go and punch someone again. Well, if you're not willing to do the anger management course, then there are consequences for you not doing it. So in a situation, I don't think it's wrong to look for evidence of change in those sort of safeguarding issues for boundaries and things to be done with wisdom at all. It's not saying you don't love, it's not saying you haven't forgiven, but you have to be making sure that you safeguard those who need safeguarding first, primarily above everything else, because they can't do that for themselves usually, you know. Yeah, but it's not easy, obviously, because you've got people, relationships, history, you know, memory, you know, of what's going on, and you know, and you obviously don't want to be operating out of bitterness or resentmentful or hurt, and therefore even for the person who's been suffered, you know, helping them to get the help they need so that they actually are free from the trauma and the effects of what's happened to them, so that they can see things more clearly. But again, even seeing things clearly and having had things dealt with doesn't mean that you're going to put yourself in the situation to allow it to happen again.